James Zogby is the president and co-founder of the Arab American Institute. He's also the author of numerous books, including Arab Voices. Really appreciate you joining us. I mean, incredible scenes there over in the West Bank. Huge numbers of Palestinians released. And, as many Palestinians have been telling us, a lot of them were held without charge. So families desperate to see them.
Yeah, look, what Israel did in the war in Gaza was just pick up people and detain them. No charges, no trials, no sense of evidence against one. They were hostages as well. And people died in captivity. There's been no discussion about that. One of the things that has rankled, I think, Palestinians and Arabs generally is the way that we've seen the faces of the Israelis held captive. We've met their families. They even spoke at the Democratic Convention. There was no such humanizing of the Palestinians who've been held. And look, one thing that just gets me of the 1,700 return to the West Bank, imagine these guys picked up in the early part of the war going back. They don't go home because there is no home. There is no neighborhood. In many cases, their families have been killed in the last 2 years. This is going to be a pretty devastating experience for many of them. And I think we need to consider that.
Yeah, their perspective will be incredible, wouldn't it? Won't it? I just wanted to talk about something that David Sanger mentioned, that we had this big signing ceremony today, and we're not going to underestimate what Donald Trump achieved here. It was an incredible moment, wasn't it? From both perspectives, hope on both sides being expressed today. But he did point out that neither Hamas nor Israel were at the signing ceremony. So just explain to us how these other Arab leaders are somehow going to guarantee this when you didn't actually have Hamas in the room.
Look, I don't think that they can guarantee, and I don't think that anything will happen unless Donald Trump is committed to cracking the whip, especially on Israel as he goes forward. We will not get to a second phase. Netanyahu's been very clear to his supporters that there won't be a second phase. He's not going to return any more land. He is not going to agree to have the PA, even the Palestinian Authority in Gaza. And he wants to retain control and military presence there, all of which are terms that would be anathema to any Arab. I think the Arabs turned out because it's Donald Trump and they're nervous, as many countries in the world are nervous about crossing Donald Trump. But the reality is that much less has happened than Donald Trump has said has happened. This is not the greatest day in the history of humanity. The war is not over. Donald Trump got his photo op, a series of photo ops. But when push comes to shove, we don't know if we get to phase two. And we don't know if we get there unless Donald Trump actually cracks the whip and says, we're getting there. Hamas doesn't have a choice at the end of the day, but it's Israel that has the choice. And it would be very difficult to get Arabs to go to phase two unless Israel agrees to whatever terms are finally put on the table. It can't just be the burden is on Hamas. The burden has to be on Israel. They, after all, have committed this intense massacre of humans, of destruction of property, the creation of a toxic area where it's going to be difficult for human life to continue in many ways. And there has to be accountability for that. And there has to be a government that is held on the dock and not just answer, but actually told you have to move forward and deliver for Palestinians because look at what you've done.
Okay, James Zogby, appreciate your thoughts on that today.
Thank you.